The top stories: political commitment said vital to set up media fairly representing Africans. And Scholar says public participation should remain a topmost priority for national consensus. Hello and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. President Sahle-Work Zewde traveled to Somali region with UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed and her delegation. The president of the region, Mustafa Mohammed, briefed the delegation on the drought situation in the region. During the field visit in Kebribaya, President Sahle-Work thanked the host community for being the first respondent in supporting the IDPs. She further emphasized the need to think beyond the immediate humanitarian response and seek for the return and resettlement of the internally displaced people. Take a listen to the president.
More cooperation is needed. Putting people together is not a solution. The right thing to do is to get the people back to their village. I would also like to thank the local people for their kindness, helping people affected by the drought. This kindness and cooperation has saved lives.
UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, for her part, said this year's AU agenda is on nutrition and the UN will focus on climate change and drought. She also said that the United Nations is interested in helping those affected by the drought.
Our visit here will put a light on the needs, and then we are able to try to bring those partnerships that should bring investments, not just aid. Because to grow a region, to grow a nation, it requires investments. We applaud the government and the region for the work that they've done on health, on education, on the roads. Of course, you need more. A population of 7 million. Maybe now that is increasing because people are coming across the border for their own needs. So our job is to work with the government to see what the priorities are, where we need more investments. We have heard from the people today what you need for water, for livelihoods and livestock, for the people, for jobs, so that you can have a life of dignity. We've also heard from the community leaders, and I want to add my voice of deep appreciation to the host communities. With what little you have shared. And so our commitment to you is to make sure that there is more for everyone, so that as we continue to keep the culture of our traditions in sharing, in being one's keeper, that everyone can prosper.
They say, Kauleza mama, which simply means, hurry mama, please, please don't let them get you. Kauleza mama, Kauleza mama, Kauleza.
Africa's voice on the world stage needs to be heard loud and clear.
Kauleza mama, Kauleza mama, Kauleza mama, sheshi sabo.
I would like to propose to this august body the establishment of an African Union Continental Media House. This media house could be organized to provide authoritative news and information on our continent, fight disinformation, promote our collective agenda, and offer opportunities for Pan-African voice to be heard.
Ethiopia has taken the initiative to call upon African leaders to join forces to develop an African media institution that will track and measure the way Africa is covered by top global media outlets. For decades, global media outlets have framed and represented Africa in a negative light. These media representations have tended to overlook the diverse political, economic, social, and cultural experiences of individual African countries. In the following reportage, our staff reporter Habtamu Ashagri will shed more light into the matter.
Most foreign media outlets are disseminating information based on the interest of their respective countries. They have all the while overlooked the negative impact of the information at the international arena. International media outlets like the CNN, Al Jazeera, BBC and Reuters, among others, are prioritizing the national interest of their respective governments. Misinformation about Africa has become a growth industry in the West. A vocabulary of metaphors is used in describing Africa. Most Westerners have never visited Africa and may never visit in the continent, yet there is a particular image of Africa in the Western mind. Addressing the leaders of African countries gathered in Addis Ababa for the 35th Heads of State Summit on Saturday, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia calls for the establishment of African Union Continental Media House to fight disinformation. In recent years, Ethiopia and many African countries and outside the continent have been victims of disinformation by the giant global media outlets owned with powerful countries, which use them to advance their own national interest in the other countries and regions across the world. As part of the efforts to establish Pan-African Media House, an Ethiopian journalist working for an international media outlet in collaboration along with other African journalists has been working to launch Global Television Network of Africa.
Africa is often portrayed in international media negatively. The endless representation of the continent troubled by civil wars, hunger, corruption, greed, disease and poverty is demeaning and dehumanizing, and likely driven by a calculated strategy and agenda. This stereotypical and negative media representation of Africa not only disinforms the rest of the world about our continent, but also shapes the way we see ourselves as Africans. Telling our own stories and shaping our own narratives must be our top priority. In this regard, I would like to propose to this august body the establishment of an African Union Continental Media House. This media house could be organized to provide authoritative news and information on our continent, fight disinformation, promote our collective agenda, and offer opportunities for Pan-African voice to be heard.
Media has a bigger role in shaping the perspectives, the opinions, the views, and so to the extent that the media is not well informed on, for example, issues that Africa are doing, will always be influenced by Western media. The media has a stronger way of shaping opinion. So I think we need also to engage further on issues of engaging with media.
As you know, the media is a major outlet for information diffusion, and people work with a lot of information. So if wrong information is diffused, it can cause a lot of confusion. So when we have a media platform that speaks for us, that speaks to us, it is going to be beneficial for the continent.
Representing African and providing accurate information on the ground of the rest of the world will create room for the international community.
We have to continue to do what we are doing. First of all, we need to communicate among ourselves. We have to have a unified vision for what we pretend to do when we have this seat in the council. And most of all, we have to have a position that we can also be an answer for some of the problems of the globe.
I think what needs to be done now is solidarity. The African Union leaders, the leaders in Africa, African Union itself, leaders from the regional economic blocs, they all need to come together and speak in one voice. Number two, we need to engage the rest of the world and make them understand.
If realized, the initiative will mean a new era for African media.
Global Television Network of Africa, GTNA, has secured 5,000 square meters of land to construct its headquarters in Addis Ababa. GTNA is established to build the continent's image so that Africa can get its rightful place in the global political and economic arenas. Talking to ETV, CEO of GTNA, Gurum Chala, underscored that it is time to inform the world about Ethiopia's and the continent's story from the African point of view. Shagao Yamato has this report.
Africa lacks independent and reliable media outlets that can adequately refute the various erroneous propaganda campaigns against the continent by unveiling the realities on the ground, and this calls for the establishment of independent and reliable media. Talking to ETV's Chief Executive Officer of Global Television Network of Africa, Gurum Chala announced that GTNA is going to serve this purpose, commencing service as an independent media. Moreover, GTNA is established to build the continent's image so that Africa can get its rightful place in the global political and economic arena, he added.
Global Television Network of Africa, GTNA, is going to be the first international media based in Africa. And its headquarters is going to be in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa. The most important issue for us is at the moment we know that there are so many challenges, especially from Western media, which misrepresent and mislead the international community about the realities on the ground of Africa. So instead of us waiting for other media organizations, especially those which come from wealthiest nations, to represent our realities, it is time to start telling our own stories. It is time to own one of our own, a platform that is going to serve as a truth teller, a platform that is going to serve as an organization, a media organization that is going to tell the true side, opportunities, challenge of Africa from the African perspective. So this media organization has a motto that says from Africa to the world.
Gurum also outlined that GTNA is a private limited company that is established by Africans. The media is going to work independently and keep credibility that notifies realities on the African continent.
GTNA, or Global Television Network of Africa, is a private limited company. As you know, this is more or less going to be a share company. In the world, the experience is the same. If you mention a name of an organization, most of them which are now operating in the media arena are owned by a group of investors who put their money on, as you know, keeping the independence of the media organization and keeping it credible across the world is a very important task that we have, because without credibility, no matter what kind of initiative we have, it's not going to be successful, as the nature of media houses is building credibility and become a trusted organization.
The CEO further noted that the media will open other offices in Africa and outside the continent.
GTNA headquarters is going to be here, as I said, in our capital, Addis Ababa. We're going to build close to 63 stories of building. This is going to be a huge investment. And it's going to house not only the headquarters of GTNA, but also going to house commercial centers and apartments, which is going to financially support across the world. For now, we've planned 3 locations: Beijing, London, and Washington, D.C., which is going to also cover New York at the UN headquarters.
According to Gurum, one of the milestones that the media has achieved is that it secured close to 5,000 square meters of land from the Addis Ababa city administration, valued at 30 million birr.
It is the right time to reform and revitalize the United Nations system to reflect current global realities and ensure that it is a more representative and equitable body. With our Esluini Consensus of 2005, we should collectively insist that Africa's reasonable request for no less than 2 permanent seats and 5 non-permanent seats in the UN Security Council be adopted.
While a myriad of issues remain divisive in the Ethiopian politics, a peace and conflict analyst suggests that engaging the general public should remain a topmost priority to bring about public consensus. The analyst also underlines that inclusive issues should be brought to the table, but it is significant to categorize them based on their kinds. Jerusalem Betzaha has the following account.
One of the commitments the government promised when it won the election held last June was to facilitate national consensus and establish a common ground on national issues through inclusive national dialogue. With the view to addressing the polarization still pervasive in the society, the 547-seat parliament approved the draft proclamation and the government formed the National Dialogue Commission last December 2021. Talking to ETV, peace and conflict analyst Degafe Debalke said, though national dialogue is significant for Ethiopia, however, he cautions that it should not be limited within academic circles alone. It should rather trickle down to the other segments of the society.
This is not a collection of an academic conversation. This is rooted in political, social, economic, constitutional, many issues involved in this package. So if we turn it into some kind of academic conversation, it misses the point. And that's where we have to be careful, that not to make it an academic forum where each academic will rise and have ideas. First of all, the Dialogue Commission is a body tasked with listening the issues from the public. Different groups, political parties, individuals, so on and so forth. So the responsibility of the commissioners is not to articulate what they think, it's to facilitate what the public thinks and to navigate through that. So in that sense, I think the Dialogue Commission has to be very, very, very sensitive and very careful not to cross the boundaries of what they have to do and what the role of the public is.
The Ethiopian government has also freed several opposition leaders and activists from prison after the Attorney General dropped the charges against them. Authorities say the release of those detainees is intended to enhance and broaden the inclusivity of the national dialogue to build consensus on the country's future. Degafe said the process of the national dialogue should be transparent and engaging the general public.
We have to make sure that the process itself is transparent and engaging with the general public. Even though a national dialogue in its current form as it was planned is organized around a particular institutional format, it's important to make sure that what the parameters, what the frame where the Dialogue Commission will be functioning from.
There are a number of constitutional, political, economic and social issues creating rifts between Ethiopians as the nation still reels from the effects of 27 years of apartheid-like rule and 30 months-long war. However, those issues should be included and categorized for the national dialogue, the scholars said.
Any issue raised by the general public, by citizens, should not be excluded. That doesn't mean all issues will get an answer within a given period of time. Some might take time in terms of responding to that. But all issues have to be put on one basket. And then citizens should decide which ones are the priorities.
Reacting on the significance of the inclusive national dialogue, the scholar had to say.
The pillar of the national dialogue or conversation is, one, there is a problem. Two, we have to address this problem. Three, we have to move the country forward. These are the fundamentals. Now, within these three pillars, the idea of living together, sharing together, envisioning future for the next generation, not for us, what is the future of the next generation? What are we handing them over? What are we leaving for them? These are the questions we all have to answer. So in that sense, the priority is to free the nation from the shackles of the past. See, the chains of the past holding the country back. In that sense, the Dialogue Commission may have a significant role and contribution, freeing the country, putting history into history books, and helping individuals, community, at the end, the nation, charting a course which is inclusive, fair, and just for everybody.
The analyst stressed that dialogue should be continuing at different levels, considering it as the lasting healing platform to take out Ethiopia from the persistent crisis.
Welcome back. You're watching Addis News Hour. The Health Minister, Dr. Lia Tadesse, has stated that Ethiopia, in partnership with the AU and Africa CDC, is ramping up preparations to manufacture COVID-19 vaccines apart from preventative efforts. Recalling that South Africa is the first to manufacture the vaccine in Africa, Dr. Lia added that AU member countries have been exerting collective efforts to produce the jab at continental level. Ethiopia is actively participating in the continental endeavors to realize production of the vaccine at national and continental level, Dr. Lia said. Preparations have been finalized with a view to conducting market feasibility study and share best experiences from partner organizations and countries ahead of the launch of the production, according to the minister. The production will be started as soon as preparations are finalized, she added. In business news, Ethiopian ambassador to India, Tizita Mulugeta, urges investors in